Hello, third violins. This is your discussion video for Queen of Sheba. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to record your videos before I had rehearsal and lessons to teach this evening. So I am recording this video at 10 o'clock at night, and I cannot do any kind of playing examples right now, or I could anger my neighbors. So the Queen of Sheba sparkly quarter notes that I want, first of all, let's think about the ways that we can play these quarter notes. The sparkly quarter notes are when you, I hope you can see it, you engage the string with your first finger. You remember the squishy bow exercises that we do. You're going to engage the string, and as soon as you pull the bow, you release. It doesn't sound very good when it's that close to the mic and I'm holding the violin like this, but thinking of as a little space between each note, they're all kind of lifted and bouncy and happy, as opposed to staccato notes that are all on the string and they just go like very choked short notes, which is not the style we are going for here. Maybe you can remember this by thinking of the pronunciation of the composer's name. Georg Friedrich Handel was German in the Baroque era, and his last name definitely was pronounced Handel with a soft A sound, not handle like a broom handle or the handle on a pot. So think of the sparkly, kind of lifted, stylistically correct quarter notes as playing Handel. And if you ever get short and choky and robotic, you're playing Handel. And we want to avoid playing Handel. This is Handel. We are in high school. We can play Handel's music correctly. So, I will do my best to demonstrate the sparkly, lifted quarter note technique in the play along videos when I make those tomorrow, when I'm allowed to make noise. The next note that I have for Queen of Sheba is use your fourth finger whenever you can. So your fourth finger notes in this piece are literally only D and A. You never have to use fourth finger E. So the fourth finger rule that I'm teaching to all of my students is that if the note lasts longer than 2 quarter note beats, you have to play it with your fourth finger. So if it is a half note, if it is 2 quarter notes in a row, if it's a quarter note and a half note in a row of the same pitch, use your fourth finger. Get used to using your fourth finger, because eventually there are going to be passages that you have to use your fourth finger in. There's no other option. And way in your future is playing in other positions where ignoring your fourth finger is absolutely 110% not an option. So we want to get used to where your fourth finger goes in space, where it lives in relationship to the rest of your fingers on each string. A cool exercise that you can do is put your fourth finger down on your fourth finger tape. If you don't have a fourth finger tape, come see me or Carney. We'll put one on for you. And you play your fourth finger and the open string next to it. Sorry, this was my old crappy violin, and I honestly have just let it sit outside of the case for the past few hours. So it's really out of tune. But you can do this fourth finger exercise doing your fourth finger on the G string and the A string and the D string. The E string, you don't have a high B string on the other side, but you can do it on your lower three strings. You can learn where your fourth finger goes that way. I encourage you to play around with that just a little bit. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time on it, but figuring out where your fourth finger goes so you can start using it in bar 1 and bar 3 and bar 4 and 5 and 9 and 12, at all of these places where you've got at least 2 beats of D or A. Please start using your fourth finger. Start trying to get the muscles in this finger stronger and help it learn where it goes on the fingerboard. That's basically all we need to talk about in the first half of the piece. I've got a couple of things for you to keep your eye out for in the second half of the piece. Measure 53 is the first one. You've got a high third finger, a C sharp. Make sure that C sharp is actually close to where your fourth finger would be. It's relatively just above your third finger tape, but just a little bit more than a finger's width. So if this is on your third finger tape, C sharp is not here. You can still see a space here, right? C sharp is all the way up here. So it's a little bit farther away than you might think. The editors gave you an upward pointing arrow in 53 and 62 to help remind you that C sharp is a high third finger. They figure by the time you get to measure 74, you remember C sharp is a high third finger. If you don't, go ahead and write an arrow up to help you make sure that you are playing a super high third finger there. Also, if you are somebody who writes in the letter names of the notes, make sure that you're writing C sharp next to it. You're writing the sharp sign next to your notes and any other information that the accidentals or key signature give you. In this case, F's are sharp, but most C's are natural. Any other C that you have has been natural if you've even had... You've had a few other C's. You had some C naturals in the first half. So make sure, this goes for all of the pieces that you play, that if you write the alphabetical note names under the notes or above the notes in your part, that you write all of the musical information, flats, sharps, or naturals next to them, so that you know when you look at those letters that you're actually getting all of the information. And I just went over this. Measure 62 and 74, all of these high third finger C sharps. I snarky past Christy wrote, measure 74, wow, more C sharp. You should be getting really good at these by now. So I hope that you were really good at them before and it didn't take until measure 74 for you to actually figure out what C sharp is. I'm sure you're fine. Measure 99, D sharp. I recommend using a low first finger, and that is what the editor is recommending as well, using the downward arrow sign. He's meaning for you to use a low first finger rather than a high fourth finger, because high 4 is really tricky. So D sharp is the same thing as E flat. Remember, low first finger notes live back here beside the nut. This piece here where it's got grooves for your strings to sit in, this is the nut. So first finger, low first finger notes live way back here beside the nut, not slightly below the first finger tape. They're quite far away. But make sure that you are adjusting if your string is a little flat that day, or maybe your low first finger isn't all the way back here by the nut. Maybe it's a little bit more forward. Every instrument is different and every day is different. depending on how your strings are reacting that day. Measure 103, another D sharp. You can use your low first finger for this note as well, but then you have to make a choice for that A natural. Do you want to ninja your first finger all the way over to a new string and up onto the first finger tape? Or you could just use your second finger on your first finger tape. You're playing D sharp with one, A natural with your second finger, and then open G. Those are your options for playing the second half of measure 103. Either way, make sure that you're playing D sharp and A natural and that you're playing the rhythm correctly. You and the violas are the only people in the entire orchestra with this rhythm, with this little eighth note before measure 104. So make sure that it is solid, you are counting, you're playing the right notes, and it's a really cool little lick here that Hansel has given to the violas and third violins. So make sure you play it out. That's really all I have to talk about. Your Sheba part is pretty simple and you guys are playing it pretty well. Just make sure that you're getting sparkly quarter notes and you are playing with confidence, and everything should be fine. I will see you in the next video, which is either... I honestly don't remember if I'm making slow practice videos for Sheba because you guys are doing so well at it already. So it might just be performance tempo Sheba, but there are violin 1, violin 2, and viola parts that you can play along with. So these videos, a whole bunch of them, 4 of them, will be linked here around me so that you can go check them out, play along with them, see how your part fits together. Know that you are almost identical to the violas, if not actually identical to the regular viola part. There is an alternate viola part for this piece that one of the violas is playing. So you would want to check out the regular viola part because mostly what you do is exactly the same as the regular viola part. But go ahead and play along with the first and second violin videos as well. See the cool harmonies and things that you have going on. And I will see you in the next video. Until then, happy practicing.